You already know, man. It's your boy Mac, Mr. the host of the most. Let's get right to it, man. Yeah, usury is the order of the day, man. You know what I'm saying? If I use you, I'm famous. If you use me, brainless. Nah, they're reverse, but you know, uh, we gotta use each other. But if we're using each other to get over on each other, then that's not the right way to do it. What's up, baby? My baby girl wants to see me. Say hi. Say hi to the people. So we're gonna break down what usury is to y'all right quick. Salute to everybody out there, you know what I'm saying? And it's all about the financial banking system because it's all corrupt at the end of the day, man. You know what I'm saying? If we are to move forward, we got to change the system from the bottom to the top, from the rooter to the tutor. So there we go. Salute to everybody out there. And stop the tomfoolery and the usury, man. You know what I'm saying? Each one teach one, and we'll be better off in society. You dig? Let's go.
Religions teach that lending to the poor is an act of compassion that serves the entire community, and therefore charging interest was seen as immoral. It was called usury and was considered a heinous crime. The Roman Empire allowed usury, but in 1179, the Catholic Church decreed that usury was forbidden. This law did not apply to Jews. While the Torah admonishes usury, Talmudic law allows a Jew to practice usury with a non-Jew, and so money lending became primarily a Jewish business. Over the years, usury became more accepted in Western society, and we've changed the definition with the addendum of charging interest at an excessive rate. In the 17th century, the Bank of England began issuing paper fiat money. This gave the banks the ability to simply print money out of thin air. And for over a century, this was rightfully called out as fraud until it became public policy, known now as fractional reserve banking. What was once seen as immoral is now seen as normal. Many assume that financial loans given out banks are coming from savings they hold for their depositors, but this is not true. When someone takes out a loan, the bank creates new money out of thin air and then charges the person interest to borrow it. Fractional reserve banking allows the banks to legally create 10 times the amount of each deposit. This inflating of the circulating currency devalues that currency and allows the banks an opportunity to profit dramatically. The Federal Reserve Act of 1913 began a system of debt designed to inflate.
Are you sick of having issues with your website? Tons of time on troubleshooting? If so, you need to start On Air. Dana from Streaming. So the launch of Streaming On Air is a live webinar platform. Webinar on Streaming on your site. The simple registration page, all your viewers. Your attendees don't have to create an account and they don't have to download clunky webinar software. StreamYard on webinar stability. This means it's as stable as platforms like YouTube Live, but with all the features of a webinar platform. Use the same StreamYard Studio that you know and love to create amazing quality webinar. Are you looking to fully brand the experience for your viewers? You can choose to embed the webinar directly on your website. Chat embedding is coming soon. The StreamYard On Air live chat also integrates just like you're used to on social media and show these comments on screen. Let's create a webinar together. Click Create, then click On Air Webinar. Next, select a source for your webinar. I'm going to select the built-in StreamYard Studio. You can also use the pre-recorded or recorded. Decide if you're just streaming to On Air or if you'd like to multi-stream to multiple platforms. Write the title and description for your webinar. Then select the date and time. Next, you'll have the option to enable registration, live chat, and available on demand. Registration allows you to collect emails and names from your attendees. They won't be able to view the webinar until they've registered. Enable live chat to have a comment section during your live stream that viewers can comment in. Enable available on demand if you'd like your viewers to be able to view this
beyond its means until it implodes, the exact opposite of sound money. The banking cartel funded both sides of World War I, which led to the Great Depression, which led to the Emergency Banking Act of 1933, which ended the gold standard and made every dollar sent an IOU to further increase the debt, which is ultimately owed by the American people. The banking cartel funded both sides of World War II, which led to the Bretton Woods monetary system, which made the USD the world reserve currency, and gave central banks the option to go straight to the gold window of the US Treasury to exchange US dollars for physical gold. But by endlessly creating more debt, it became clear that the US had printed far beyond their gold reserves. And when several nations came to collect their gold, the federal government dishonorably closed the gold window. To maintain world reserve currency status, markets are crashing, and the derivatives market alone is in the quadrillions, which is much more than the total financial assets of the entire world. There is nothing left to prop up the dollar. This Ponzi scheme is at its end. What that means is that the money you have in the banks will disappear. Everything will go to zero, and then we reset. How we do that will ultimately be up to the people. The banking cartel knows that the only way they can survive this collapse is to somehow convert everyone to an authoritarian CBDC. But without the people's trust, the banks will have problems with this. Many people will lose everything and will want nothing but justice from the old banking system. But many others will comply. Hard times are coming fast, and if we were smart, we'd prepare. Let the big banks die and create a banking system that serves we the people. Signed in 1787, the U.S. Constitution states that no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. In 1791, to help pay for the Revolution, Congress established the first national bank of the United States. Within a decade, it became evident that taxes were being sent to the crown, and the bank was not renewed. A political battle ensued, which resulted in the formation of America's first two political parties, the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans. The framers of the U.S. Constitution left out any mention of political parties because they saw them as corrupt relics of the British Crown's divide and conquer system. The second central bank was chartered in 1816 and shut down in 1832 by Andrew Jackson, who wrote that the bank was unauthorized by the Constitution, subversive to the rights of states, and dangerous to the people. For nearly a century, America thrived without a central bank, until 1914, when the privately owned Federal Reserve banking system was quietly given power over America's wealth. In 1933, the U.S. government declared bankruptcy, and the Fed shifted to a debt-based economy. And after the U.S. dollar was made the world reserve currency, the entire world became dependent upon debt. A currency backed by nothing but debt and IOUs was doomed to eventually fail from the start. And that day appears to be coming soon. These big banks have funded wars and criminally profited off human suffering for decades. Credit Suisse alone has been fined over $50 times for over $10 billion for money laundering, fraud, espionage, drug trafficking, and stealing money from the people. Every person in the civilized world is now feeling the same financial pressure, being subjected by the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. Nations of the world are buying up record amounts of gold. 3/4 of the world have joined BRICS to prepare for a new world reserve currency after the end of the US dollar. Zimbabwe and Mexico are now joining BRICS. But it's important to remember that the Federal Reserve Bank is operated by BlackRock. BlackRock is operated by the Rothschild City of London banking cartel. And so even if the Fed collapses, BRICS is most likely another proxy of its old banking cartel. The idea for BRICS was born in 2001 from Goldman Sachs. The Federal Reserve Bank's digital Fed coin is already hugely unpopular. CBDCs are being rejected upon arrival. But that isn't stopping the federal government and the failing big banks from luring them into their new nightmare system. This July, the Fed now managing practically every transaction made in the United States. Then all they have to do is what the Nigerian central bank just did: shred and destroy mountains of cash and stop filling the ATMs. But we're not slaves yet. And if we want to have financial freedom, then it's time to fight back against the CBDC concept and return to lawful constitutional money. Oklahoma has a law in the works that will protect Oklahomans from being forced to adopt a CBDC. And Florida is now working on a law that will expressly prohibit the use of a CBDC. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis is calling on other state governors to do the same and fight back against CBDC nationwide. At least a dozen states have passed laws to begin accepting gold and silver as cash, on the path to returning to a lawful constitutional money system. Several states
combining two trusted pain relievers into one tablet. Ibuprofen targets pain. Acetaminophen